Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Earlier today I saw an ad where Red Cross was looking for donations to help people in Haiti. That was truly shocking to me considering what they have done in that country. So I just wanted to make a video talking about how Red Cross failed Haiti and how they stole 500 million from that country. After that I will also take a look at how UN failed Haiti, because what they did in that country is they instituted a mass raping program where they raped countless women and children. This is something that actually interests me personally because I've worked for NGOs. I might even make a video of that one day. But these aid organizations, some of them are truly terrible. Before we get into this, please remember to subscribe, like, share and comment.
It's been 5 years since the small nation of Haiti was flattened by an earthquake. Australians and the rest of the world responded with donations to give Haiti the aid it so desperately needed. Nearly $500 million was raised by the Red Cross alone, but where did the money go? Just 6 homes have been built, and there are still no answers about what the other donations have been used for.
After the earthquake, Red Cross did what they always do. They went to everybody and they were like, give us donations, we're going to go and help them. They collected $500 million and they built 6 homes. They didn't build 6 mansions, if you're wondering. It wasn't like every house was worth 100 million. No, they built the cheapest kind of housing. So the question is, what happened to the rest of that money?
Yeah, well, we found in our reporting that even though the American Red Cross raised, almost $500 million, they really weren't positioned to do an international development project. Several projects to build permanent housing were delayed for years because of turnover, lack of strategy, other internal issues, and that combined with difficulties of operating in Haiti in general really derailed all these projects, and that's how, now 5+ years later, the American Red Cross only built 6 permanent homes in the entire country.
Well, the Red Cross say, of course, that they've helped 4.5 million people get on their feet.
Right, and when we went down to Haiti earlier this year, we talked to a lot of people in the government there, and people are very skeptical of this 4.5 million number. The country of Haiti only has a population of 10 million, so 4.5 million is nearly half the population. And again, this is another case where the American Red Cross won't sort of show its math, break down the figures on which projects help.
This researcher is being polite. He doesn't want to say it. He's saying that they had a difficult time. It was hard to go to Haiti and do the work. It was very difficult to build houses. They had all these issues, but they tried their best. Unfortunately, the sad reality is that they didn't even try. Based on what I've seen working with other NGOs in Africa, especially in Somalia, usually they don't even try.
And you mentioned there the breakdown of figures. Do you have any idea of how much money was used for administrative costs, for overheads, as opposed to actually helping the people?
They say publicly that 9% of all money given goes to overhead and the rest was supposed to go to Haiti. We found through our reporting that, in fact, more than 9% went to overhead and other administrative costs. We were able to get a detailed breakdown in one of their projects, and we found that first they took out their 9%, then they gave the money to another organization that took out their own overhead, and meanwhile the American Red Cross spent another 20+% on sort of other administrative costs. So when you add it all up, it ended up being in the 30 to 40% range. So significant.
That, ladies and gentlemen, is how the scam works. That's why you see them always working together, because they fundraise together and then both of them, they get 9%. But these people did even worse. They opened other organizations so that they could give the money to them so that they could also claim that 9%. And then they added all kinds of other things, and in the end they spent 40% of that money on themselves. And this is quite common. Next time when you want to give money to certain organizations, go look at the places their offices are. Go look at the kind of cars their employees are driving around. Do you know that when there is a disaster and a catastrophe, and they are sending white women to places like Haiti and African countries and all around the world, do you know how much security is needed to protect those women? They become liabilities, and people on the ground that are suffering, who should be taking care of themselves, they have to then start taking care of this white woman who's there to help them. Now, I have nothing against white women. I'm just giving you an example that when you send people from the West to save other people, it's quite expensive. It would be much better, and if people actually cared, and if it wasn't just a job and a way of making money, this is what they would have done. They would just send that money straight to the local people, to the local organizations, because in the end, it will always be them who do the work. 9% in itself doesn't sound too bad, but if you actually think about it, they had $500 million, so 9% would be $45 million. But that wasn't enough for them. They had to take more. And he's saying that they took 40%. But even that doesn't make sense. Because let's say they took half of that money. They would still have $250 million. So there should at least be some kind of housing and stuff. But there's 6 houses. That doesn't make any sense. The reality is that they pocketed every single cent from that money. That is the sad reality.
These are some of the 33 Haitian children an American Baptist group allegedly tried to unlawfully take out of the country on Saturday. Orphans and abandoned children, victims of the earthquake, some as young as 2 months old. The Haitian authorities stopped the bus they were on as they were about to cross into neighboring Dominican Republic. With them were 10 Americans. They are now in police custody. And they reportedly say they were planning to set up an orphanage for the children in the Dominican Republic.
Our understanding was that, and we were told by a number of people, including Dominican authorities, that we would be able to bring the children across.
These are the people I hate the most. These people who are telling them that God tells them to go and save people. I would say majority of them are Christian, but there are some Islamic organizations that are quite problematic as well. I don't know if they still do this. It's been a while since I've been there. But what they used to do in some refugee camps is that they used to have churches, and then people would be invited to those churches. And when you go inside those churches, they would give candy and other things to children, and then they would give some money to the other people or some food or stuff like that. Sometimes they would help with applications to getting abroad, and then they would tell you, if you want our help, you have to accept Jesus, because it is Jesus that's helping you, not us. It's an absurd situation, and what they did in Haiti is they stole thousands of children. Those children will never meet their parents again. Stolen from their homes. They haven't done this just in Haiti, by the way. This has been done after every catastrophe. This was widespread after the Rwandan genocide. People were taking children from Rwanda. They are still people looking for their families. I have met them. People who don't know who their families are. They don't know where to return and who they are.
Yon misye ki kape. Mwen toujou uniform nan sou lot minister. Bleu de ciel. Et puis, pas bleu de ciel foncé, non? Pal.
Peut-être que même si on va gagner la dépôt et casse le connaît même.
Non, et après le film m'a viré. Même pas kon lang nan. Li parler. M'a kon ça l'a dit. Qu'on y a me camper li femme sin, li dit me venir.
Poser peut-être ou gen doit nan goumer avec moun nan, soit moun nan tou yo et moun nou gen zam.
Et servir avec par force. Et par un bagage moi te vle pour que me te vle.
The United Nations mission in Haiti, known as MINUSTA, was established in 2004 to help strengthen the rule of law. But its legacy has been marred by a pattern of rape. UN personnel preying on the very people they're supposed to protect. We wanted to understand what that meant for women here, and why after decades of scandals, so little has changed.
United Nations has a well-documented sexual abuse problem. Even today, there was a report that came out in Burkina Faso where UN workers were offering food for sex. I give you food, you give me sex. These are UN workers giving people food that is supposed to go to the people who are suffering. But the women and the children have to do things that are unimaginable. Could you imagine going out to find food for your children and being sexually abused to get that food, and that person saying that I'm here to help you? It's absurd and it's ridiculous, and no one is holding these people accountable. Now, I don't want to get into this story here because I want to make another video about UN and their rape problems. Now, in the end, I just want to say that my thoughts are with Haiti and we have to pray for them. And if you want to give some of your hard-earned money to them, please remember, always give that money to the local people and local organizations. You can find plenty of them online. Thank you all for watching. Please remember to subscribe, like, share and comment because it helps me out. I'll see you all on the next one. Thank you.